listeners. Welcome to another episode of Romance Unraveled. This is one of your co hosts, Jacob Bozen.
And I'm your other co-host, Abigail.
And today we had a scheduling issue. So you get to be, I guess, entertained by one of my stories because, as you know, I have many, but I was going to tell it anyways. It just wasn't going to be this week, which is totally fine. But yeah, for everyone, our theme for the month is Mormon dating. And it's funny because many of you probably know I moved back to Utah from DC, and about maybe a month ago on one of our episodes, someone wanted to know when listeners submitted questions how my dating life was going, and I spoke way too soon by saying it was going well.
Oh no.
And I mean, it's fine and whatever, but it's like there is this heavy underlying Mormon current to the dating here still that I knew was a disaster when I left to move to DC, and returning back to Utah, I didn't think it would be as dominant, and it still is. And you're going to see why with the story I'm about to tell. So, this is a story that began when I was probably a senior in high school, or maybe had just graduated high school.
Mhm.
And I had met this guy, we'll call him Parker, just for kicks and giggles. I met
Okay.
Parker on Meet Me. I don't know if any of you know. Abby, do you know that? Does that ring a bell for you?
It rings a bell. I don't think I ever used it.
Yeah, so it's like an app that you can have for dating. It's called Meet Me, and it's not used. I don't think anyone uses it anymore. But
We should
like
get them to sponsor this episode. Jeez.
I know, but most of the profiles on there are like fake essentially.
Oh,
So I
okay.
met this guy named Parker on Meet Me, and it's really sweet, very cute. And at the time, I was really going through my Mormon faith crisis. So I was practically in the middle. And what I mean by the middle is I was still wanting so, like, in my heart, I was wanting to be a good Mormon
Hmm.
and do what I needed to do. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm gay and like I have like a human need to have a partner. And
Yeah.
those two worlds don't intersect really at all. Um, but this guy, Parker, he was also Mormon, and he wanted to like be as Mormon as possible for his life and like find a partner that would eventually be his husband, where they could be like Mormon 2.0, I guess you could say. And so,
So when you say Mormon 2.0, you just mean like adhering to a lot of the doctrine or gospel still, but kind of modifying it to fit you or your lifestyle.
exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So Parker and I met on our first date. We went to the Clark Planetarium in Salt Lake City, and everything was really great. After that, we went up towards Ensign Peak above the Capitol building here and like laid on the grass up there. And he was the first boy, or I was the first boy that he had ever kissed. And he really liked it because who wouldn't? And he, yeah, like it was great. We connected really well. We kept seeing each other. He ended up being my date to my cousin's wedding. He met my grandma, who's now passed away. She really liked him. And then I brought him to see my friends. And it was at Abby's house, her parents' house, and we had a bonfire. And Abby, I think you can explain from here for a little bit.
I don't know if I can. Your memory serves way better than mine. I just remember that I had some like not great first impressions of him. And I felt like it wasn't fully like reciprocal. Like I could see you putting in energy that wasn't being given back exactly. And so it just kind of came off as like rude or kind of standoffish and cold. But honestly, that's what I remember. I don't remember a lot of the details.
Yeah, I think that's enough detail. So here's the deal. He lived in West Jordan, which is like an hour or more away from where Abby and I lived growing up, which is in Morgan, Utah. And so for him to like drive an hour to come see me, that meant like a really big, that was a big deal to me because that,
For
in
sure.
my eyes, that was like showing a lot of effort. Um, but I didn't understand it for years, why Abby didn't like him or had that bad impression about him until I met him again. But that's further into the story, so I'll just keep going from where we were. So him and I like dated for, I don't know, maybe 6 months, maybe a little bit longer. And it was around the same time where the both of us had to decide like if we were going to go on a Mormon mission or not. I had decided no, and I walked away from the religion around the same time, and he was still on the fence. So he would still go to church regularly. He would still have meetings with his bishop, the whole thing. And I remember I was sitting at my grandma's house one day, and he had texted me and said, "Hey, like I have a meeting with my bishop to get my patriarchal blessing." Which,
Mm.
for people who don't know what that is, it's like the easy way to say it is like the fortune teller of your future, but with a Mormon
What?
twist to it.
I don't know if that's how I would describe it. I mean, I think maybe that's how it's seen or talked about, but to paint a slightly clearer picture for our listeners, this particular blessing is given by someone that is, it's like their role or their job in the church to give these blessings, and they are seen as the middleman essentially between you and God, and they're bestowing upon you these blessings that have been yours like from birth and will be through your whole life. And this blessing also can include some guidance for different times in your life. So it may have information or details about like serving a mission or your future partner. And so that's what can be seen as like a fortune telling element to it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And when I read that text that he was getting that and having a meeting with his bishop about that, and also a meeting to like discuss going on a mission, my like stomach like twisted and turned because I knew exactly what that meant.
Mm.
He would not be able to go on a mission or get that blessing if he was not deemed worthy by his bishop, and he would not be for sure because he was dating me.
Right.
So I was with my grandma, and she's like, she could immediately tell that my mood had shifted, and so she's like, what's going on? And so I read her the text, and she says, "Well, you know exactly what that means." So she knew
Oh.
as well. And yeah, so he's like, but there's nothing to worry about. It's okay, whatever. So he gets out of his meeting and I ask him how it went. He's like, oh, it was good. Didn't give me really any other detail than that. And then the next day, I wake up and I go message him like good morning or whatever, and I had been blocked.
Oh my gosh.
And so my messages are not delivering to him, but I still have him on Snapchat at the time. So I'm like trying to figure out like how to contact him. I knew exactly like what was actually going on. And
Hmm.
so I message him. He opens it, doesn't respond. And I message him again. I said, just tell me what's going on. So he calls me and he's like bawling his eyes out. And he's like, my mom sat me down and said, you need to decide what life you want. It's either with him or like in the gospel. And
Mm.
he chose the gospel. And
Wow.
so she took his phone and blocked me. That's what he told me.
Oh, okay. So she did it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he practically just ended it there and said, I'm so sorry. Like, I can't be with you and do this Mormon life. Like, it's going to be easier if we just end it now and don't like talk about this any further. And so then he removed me from there as well. So that
So
was
what's going through your mind at this point?
I. Like, so this is a chapter in my book, and
Hmm.
the chapter is titled "The Mormon Church Stole My Boyfriend." And it really is true because that's really how I felt because it was like he was choosing me or choosing the church over me, and they had convinced him to do so.
Hmm.
So it was like it was something that had already caused me so much turmoil and so much anger and like hatred, honestly.
Yeah.
And it just had another swipe at me. And
Right.
and so it really like it pissed me off. Like I was like to hell with all of them. It's horrible.
That makes sense with what you were talking about. Like, this is around the time that you're going through your own, like, deconstruction, faith crisis experience, and have just left the church. And so all of that is very raw. A lot of those emotions are very raw, where you're feeling wronged by the religion. And then here comes this boy, and now the thing that's keeping you apart is this religion that you just left.
Exactly. Yep.
Wow.
It made me hate it even more. Um and so yeah, so he like ditched me. It was super hard for me because of the circumstances and everything that happened and why it happened. And then so he goes on his Mormon mission. So on his mission, I get a random email one day. I have not a damn clue how he got my email. Like, I never gave it to him for anything. I do not know how he got it. And it's an email from him, and he's saying, like, hey, Jacob, how are you? I just wanted to check up with you. Hope life's good, essentially. And I'm like, why are you talking to me?
Hmm.
It's like, oh, like, I just wanted to see if there's anything I could do for you. Da 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 da. And he's asking me about my life, and then he asked me like how dating is going for me. And I tell him, and he's like, "Well, I love ya, but I can't really support you in that."
Oh, goodness.
So it was like, why are you emailing me? Like,
Yeah.
just to tell, like, to check on me and like to like see if it doesn't make sense to me. It was just
Yeah.
weird because it's like almost like he was putting himself in a position to like feel better about himself because he's the one that chose the right path, is on a mission, and I'm the one over here dating men and sinning in the world.
That's so interesting. And just in case the listeners don't know this as well, I think a fun little detail here is that missionaries are not allowed to contact people this way. Some of these rules have changed, but at the time, the only contact that you're allowed to have is with your family on certain holidays, on Christmas and Mother's Day. And then otherwise, outside of that, the only contact you're supposed to have with people is emailing them on a set day of the week, on Mondays, essentially. So it's already bizarre that he somehow got your email address and then he's reaching out to you and talking to you when he probably is not supposed to be.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I was very confused by the whole thing. So I didn't hear from him like for a long time after that, but I still followed him on social media.
Hmm.
And like you can just really tell by looking in somebody's eyes, at least for me, that like their state of like emotional being.
Okay.
In a lot of cases you can, I think. And like just looking into his eyes, like his social media posts that he would make like on his mission or whatever it was, like you could just totally see like the sadness and like the fear and the like the unfulfilled life that he had, that he felt like he was here to essentially sacrifice his happiness for loyalty to a religion. And it was really sad. Like I can still see it in his eyes. Like it's really sad to see.
Yeah, you're seeing this version of him that you don't recognize. He doesn't seem like himself to you anymore.
Right. So years go by and more years go by and about 8 to 10 years go by. And I moved back to good old Utah,
Woohoo!
which is actually better than DC, I will still say. And
Indeed.
lo and behold, I match with Parker on Hinge. And I'm going through Parker's profile, and he's got like looking for a relationship. I'm for monogamy. I'm whatever, whatever. But something that was really important to me was his designation for religion. And he put Christian instead of Mormon. So I'm sitting here thinking, oh, maybe he like woke up one day, is going to like a Methodist or like a
Mm.
Lutheran accepting nice Christian church and is like still in that world, which I'm not, but
Yeah.
like it's better than Mormons or like Christian nationalists. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can kind of get along with that world. Like that's okay with me.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, let's like start chatting and go on a date. So we scheduled a date and we show up for our date. He shows up in a yellow Mustang. It's like Bumblebee off of Transformers. I'm not even kidding. It's like literally the same. And date is fine and normal. We're talking like normal. I can tell that he's like, it's more about him than it is about me. Or like
What do
both,
you mean?
or like both of us, like as far as like who's asking questions, who's showing interest in the other, that kind of thing. It was more so me having to like lead the conversation.
Okay.
And so looking back to your complaint about him, I'm like, oh my God, she was totally right about him. Like, this is literally how he is.
Call him how I see him.
Yeah. And so we get to the point where I ask him if he's like going to church because I saw that there's Christian in his profile. And he says, yeah, I do. And I'm like, oh, what one do you go to? He's like, the Mormon Church.
Oh,
And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, yeah, I go and I love it. And I sit there for a minute and I'm trying to like calculate in my head how someone could like do this for this long, like
yeah.
living both lives essentially.
Hmm.
And I'm like, so how do you reconcile your life with like your sexuality and the Mormon religion? He says, well, this is the thing. He's like, I actually don't see myself ending up with a man, like
What?
marrying a man. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, then why the hell am I here?
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, because I'm more long term with people that I'm dating. Like, that's how I view it. Like, I'm not going to date you if I don't see potential with you.
Hmm.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And he says, well, I'm going to marry a woman because, like, I want children. And I'm like, well, you can have children with a guy. Like, you can adopt kids.
Hmm.
And he's like, well, I need a little me running around. And
This is so bizarre to me. Like, I know we've talked about this before, but it's still just like so unreal in my mind the more you talk about it.
yeah. And like you can do like artificial like whatever creation of babies with two guys or whatever. So it's like technically your own kid, which I'm against, by the way. I know people are gonna light me up for that, but I don't care. And I'm like, you can do that. And he's like, no, like it, he's like, every child deserves to have a father and a mother. And two guys can't parent them well, and two women can't parent them well. And I asked him,
Oh.
I'm like thrown by this, and I say, do you know like any gay couples with kids? And he's like, no, not personally. And I said, well, from what I've seen, they actually parent their children a lot better in many cases than straight couples because number one, the kids are never an accident.
Mm.
They want them. And let's be honest, gays are more successful than straight people. Like it's
What
just
do you mean?
like on average, like we bring in more money, we're more educated, and we're more outgoing. And like it's just the truth.
I don't doubt that at all, but I would love to see some statistics to that point because I think that's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, look it up because seriously, it's the truth. And so it's like they're going into most situations better like for life with gay
Mm.
couples than straight couples
Well,
because
it's also just crazy to me to hear him make such a bold statement like same-sex couples are parenting not as well as a heterosexual couple. Like especially not even having any anecdotal evidence for yourself, like not knowing any gay parent couples. How could you feel so comfortable making such a statement?
Right. Yeah. So then he tells me, well, guys can give me everything that I want sexually, and women can't, but I'm willing to sacrifice that side of my life to have a family. So then I'm
Wow.
sitting there thinking, okay, well, now I really know why I'm here, what the
Mm,
purpose of all this was, which is fine. Like, I enjoy that kind of stuff, but it's like if I'm going on a date with someone that's like, my intention is to like see if they could be like a life partner for me, like that pisses me off.
I see. So you realize in this moment that he is like talking with you, going on this date, and reaching out to you for some kind of hookup situation.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's really like where like it end like that side of the story ended because I was just so shocked and I walked into it not expecting to hear that at all. And I walked away thinking, oh my God, like how sad for you. Like you
Mm.
are literally the same person in the same position in the same mindset that you were almost 10 years ago. And if I was in that position that you are in, I probably wouldn't be alive.
Mm,
Like it's
wow.
so sad to me. Like it's like I don't like that inner turmoil that it causes you. It's like it's too much. And to bear it for that long, like I actually do feel really bad for him because for, number one, I don't think he's gonna ever marry a girl.
Mm,
I really don't. And so he's gonna be single and miserable for his life and he's not gonna have children and the whole thing because it's like it's not transparent the way that he's going about it and it's not truly who he is. It's like a sacrifice that he's making to fulfill some sort of bullshit promise that was made to him by a religion.
mm.
So that's the first story.
Which
With
honestly, like, I could say so much more about that. And maybe we'll just do another episode dedicated to this idea, but the sort of complicated nature of being like half in the church, half out, and like you described earlier, of like trying to make it work for you is such a complicated thing and something that I think a lot of Utah Mormons experience or observe. And so, like I said, maybe not in this episode, but hopefully in a future episode, we can dive even deeper into that and some of the pros and cons.
oh, for sure. Well, there's more cons, but yeah, we can use both too, I think. So that ends with Parker, okay? So
Hmm.
I'm like furious, thinking like, holy crap, like I did not expect that at all. And so I'm continuing to dating in Utah, and I'm like, please don't bring me any more Mormons that are like this. And I keep matching with these guys on Hinge, and a lot of them are Mormon.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the hell? I literally don't want anything to do with it. Why is it so prevalent here? It doesn't make any sense to me. And it would like settle with me better if I was like 18 to like 22 and there were more Mormons. But like I'm 26, almost 27. And it's like you would think people would have figured out by now what route they're taking.
So for you, it's like a immaturity sort of thing that some people are still involved with the religion.
I don't think it's an immaturity thing. I just think it's like the inability to like face reality.
Okay. So some ignorance.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
So I match with this guy. We can call him Kyle for whatever. And Kyle and I are just chit-chatting, and we get to the point where he asks me, or I ask him what he did for that day, and it was a Sunday. And he's like, oh, I went to church. And so, of course, I ask him what church it is. He's like, oh, the Mormon Church. And I ask him the same question, like, how do you reconcile this? And he's like, well, I fully date guys and I go to church and my bishop is okay with it and says it's grand and dandy, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, not having enough self-respect for myself. So I like continue the conversation and I'm like, oh, let's go on a date.
Okay.
So, because at this point, I'm like, I haven't really, like, how could it be worse than what I've experienced? So, we keep talking, and he keeps telling me how he really wants to date someone who is active in the church, meaning that they go to church every week and they read their scriptures and they give all their 10% of the money to the church and whatever else it may be. Go to the temple, but you really couldn't go to the temple if you were Mormon and gay and dating, but in their world they think that they can, even though that they can't. And so he's saying this to me, but I'm still like, okay, let's go on a date, and I don't know what.
Mm.
And we pick a place, and the day before that we actually go on the date, he messages me this, and I'll read it to you word for word. He says, "So I was thinking, and I'm not sure if we'd be a good fit for each other. Sorry, I was just thinking about the whole church thing, and I think I actually do want to date someone who is active. You seem like a good guy, though."
Wow.
So I'm like reading this being super annoyed because I'm like, I should have shut it down from the beginning. And I respond, "That's completely fine. Not offended at all. You just saved me a lot of unnecessary drama. Reading that message made me feel bad for you.
Oh, wow.
You can't be fully active and date a guy. You can't have it both ways and be Mormon 2.0. So my advice is to choose one or the other and get off this app depending on what you choose. I know it's harsh, but it's the truth." Is it
Hmm.
is it the truth, Abby?
Well, that's what I have so many opinions about, honestly. That's why I'm like, oh, we need to do a deep dive into this. I feel I feel conflicted because as you know, Jacob, I was in this position for a long time where there were things that I didn't align with, things I didn't believe in, but there was a lot of things I did still subscribe to and hold really dear about Mormonism. And so I was in this in between stage for a while and telling myself that like it was okay to double dip, I guess you could say, to kind of live both lives. And so that's why I want to be able to talk in more detail about like why I say pros and cons, because I think that as human beings, we try to make things black and white to make it easier for us to like process and cope, honestly. And so it makes sense that you'd want to be like all in or all out. And that's the messaging that you get from the church. There's so many different reference points we could make with this, but one that stands out was a talk given in a general conference where they talked about not wanting their members to be what they call lukewarm Mormons or like this sort of in between or Mormon 2.0, as Jacob's been describing it. And so you get a strong message within the church that it's all or nothing, and you get a strong message outside of the church from people all or nothing. Like you said in your message to him, you have to choose, you can't live both lives. And I think that really sucks that that is the way that it's talked about. And I think that in theory, there's a different way to live this. And I know a lot of people who do this who kind of take on a cafeteria style Mormonism where it's like take what you want and leave the rest. However, that's not considered like true blue Mormonism. And so I think that's what you're getting at is like you can't really be a fully active member if you choose to disregard some of these rules or things.
Well, exactly. So it's like, okay, let's say one of these guys dated me. Okay, let's say we were having sex, we were doing whatever, we were like committed to each other, we're dating seriously, the whole
Hmm.
thing. They will not get granted access to the temple. They will not be
No,
deemed worthy. And you
correct.
know, everyone knows that is Mormon. And for those that don't know, the temple is like the highest goal in Mormonism because this is where you can, like, essentially make sure you're going to make it to heaven, is an easy way to say it.
Sure.
And so it's like, if you can't do that, you are Mormon 2.0. Actually, it's like Mormon negative 2.0 because it's not even
Negative.
Mormon.
Right. So I think my thought kind of boils down to the idea of I think it's possible for you to still be religious or spiritual or have a faith-based belief system. But I don't know that Mormonism is the right place for you because it is a high demand religion that asks for those um, black and white sort of extremes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So there's this other guy. We don't need to name him because he's not super significant, but Mormon as well, and me lacking the self-respect at the time. Now I
Oh
have
no.
it. Now I have it in my profile that I'm not dealing with Mormons. So Abby knows this. We did this like 2 weeks ago on my
Yeah.
profile or whatever, and I saw him for like a good month. And he had told me he like never had sex before, never done any of that kind of thing. And we never did, but it was like we really pushed the boundaries. And every time, like I could tell, like when it was all said and done, that he just had this immense rush of shame and guilt go through him. And
Mm.
every time he saw me, and every time we would do something, it would be like, when's the next time I'm going to hear from you? Because each time it would like get more intense and more like closer to like sexual things,
Hmm.
it would be like, okay, let's add another day on to hearing from you. So like it would go like 2 days, and then we would do 3 days, and then a week,
Okay.
and then
So the
two
more
weeks.
your relationship progressed physically, the longer the time went between talking to each other?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So like I just let it fade. Like I'm not doing it. Like he's like one of those people who's like, I can be Mormon 2.0
Hmm.
and be like not in it, but in it at the same time. And my bishop tells me I'm great, and I give them 10% of my money, and I go on dates with guys, and I don't have sex, but I get close to it, and we sing Kumbaya and hold hands at church
Oh no.
together. So, yeah, I mean, I've kind of put my foot down on it because I'm like, I'm not, this world really hurt me growing up,
Hmm.
and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it hurting other people. And if you want to allow it to continue to hurt yourself and you put your blinders on and don't see what the hell's in front of you, then I don't want any part of it, especially with someone that, like in a romantic sense. So, like the only good thing that really comes out of like these gay Mormons is that they really value family and like having children and like being more traditional sense, which I am, like I totally am.
Hmm.
But it's like you can't really with them because they'll never reach that point with you.
Hmm. So you feel kind of trapped between worlds, even after leaving Mormonism. It's like there's these traditional values that you hold that a lot of people in the gay community don't seem to also hold.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the story for this week. Woohoo.
Well, I'm so glad that we got to hear a story from you, Jacob, because I know they're doozies and you're the one who has to live and experience them, and it can be so frustrating. But maybe, listeners, maybe this will resonate with someone out there, and they'll need to hear what you have to say about respecting yourself.
Oh, absolutely. I'm about to like direct send this to Parker and the other guys. Be like, have fun listening.
Send the link. That's so funny.
Okay. Well, for our listeners, as always, make sure you subscribe and save. We're streaming anywhere you can get your podcasts. And make sure you follow us on social media. It's Romance Unraveled on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And of course, if you have a story, you can reach out to us directly on one of those platforms. I will get you scheduled. We have a link tree where you can actually submit the story on there as well as a submission form, but it'd be easier if you just message me. Until next time.